no, but let me get back to the CIA crap.
Okay.
But after that, okay, after I fell out with those guys, the NSA guys, that's when I got hooked up to all the UFO crowd. Okay,
Right.
the
Before that, you hadn't had
um,
contact with that kind of shit, for example.
before
Sorry.
that, I had no contact with any UFO crap whatsoever.
Right.
And then as soon as I got done with these NSA people, I was expecting that they were going to try to kill me. So I got hooked up with these people that sold body armor. It was a local body armor company, and the guy that was their head, whatever he was, rep, happened to also know that the CIA people that I was dealing with that were actually NSA,
Right.
and he was involved. He was involved with Billy Meyer. He did like security for Billy Meyer for
Oh
obvious
man.
reasons,
Okay.
and so he hooked me up. You know, he hooked me up with Billy Meyer, and when they pumped me full of all their stuff, all their UFO stuff, and of course that took a long time before I, because you don't just swallow that right away, right?
Right. Right.
Take, yeah. So it took a long time, but I filed everything away. So in the process of all this
You went
stuff, I
from
learned a couple of
communists
things.
to UFOs.
Well,
Kind of.
I wouldn't say con, but it gets even more intense. I've never stopped the. I mean, I fought terrorists, in a big
Right.
way, but
Right.
that came later. But yeah, hell, I was a major anti-terrorism person.
Have
Um,
you ever seen that Narcos, that Pablo Escobar TV series?
well, I've seen documentaries on what happened to him, but
Yeah, because
I'm sure it's pretty.
I'm pretty sure that after they killed Pablo Escobar, they continued to the CIA and NSA. I don't know if the NSA was alive yet, but the CIA started, continued on with that fight against the communists, or whatever they call the guerrillas and
Oh, they're
those
not fighting
terrorists, right?
communists, man. Come on. All right. Well, this whole thing about what they're doing over there is it's standard procedure as far as American policy is concerned, and
Yeah.
that is it's gun running and drug running. That's all they ever do. They go over
Yes,
there. They
that's
bring.
American. That's why do they have this policy, Stephen? Right? I mean, like it's kind of
Well,
obvious,
it's
right? It's
it's
money. It's about money, right?
yeah. It's no different than the opium wars when the Queen used to bring a bunch of opium into China, right? It's the
Right.
same thing.
Oh, it's the same thing. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Because when I say
same thing.
communist, you listen. I know that it's like far out, but a lot of people already know that the communism was kind of invented to create a control system upon a country, right? So whenever they feel like it, like okay, wow, now we want to control this country, throw in some communism in there. You know what I mean? That's what they do.
Hmm.
It's what happened to Brazil in the last 13 years, and
Well, yeah,
people are
you got we've had some great discussions about what's going on over there, and a lot has happened since, and we have yet to
since
been able to come back and talk about it,
that's true.
which is, I mean, come on, man. I don't know what you're waiting for. We could do it right now, but you want to talk about you want to finish talking about the CIA crap, and then, I mean, we should probably do that. Huh?
Yeah, no, yeah. People are going to be expecting to know, for example, what's really actually happening right now. For instance, the Obama,
Well,
I'm sorry, the Trump and Hillary debate. Hillary going, I don't know, wild. Like she's possessed. Like by demons. I don't
well,
know
we
what
need
hell.
we need to get to the real good stuff, man.
Right,
Screw
right.
those Trump and Hillary. They're the sideshow that's going on in front of us. Let's
Exactly.
talk about
That's
what's
what I
going
was
on.
going to talk about. All that's happening to them right now is obviously just to take our eyes off of what was really going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
here, for example, here in Brazil, it's pretty obvious that the current president was put by the CIA to maintain a certain control of education. For instance, I'm gonna tell you something really crazy right now that you're gonna like. I don't know if you're gonna blow. I don't know what's gonna happen, but listen. Right now, if your bird wants to teach English here in our schools, he can. It's allowed. The president yesterday, or I don't know, before yesterday, he just took a decision that anybody can teach. Yeah, anybody can teach now. Of course, if you're over 18, but yeah, you can teach. You know, That's crazy.
Well, my bird's not over 18. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he
Christy,
can't
she'll be
teach.
18
He
pretty
can't
soon.
teach. Sorry, he
This
can't teach.
little girl here in bird years. In bird years. Actually, no. These things they live to be like what 75. So she's
Right.
only. I don't know if she's 15. She might be 15.
Oh,
Like,
so she
oh,
can't teach. She can't teach.
hell, she might even be 20. Can't remember. Oh God.
So
See what
whatever.
happens when you get old. You can't remember stuff. All right, let me
Right,
just
yeah,
finish this
that
CIA
happens.
crap.
That
All
happens.
right, all
So
right, okay,
okay, sorry, sorry.
okay. All right. After the Billy Meyer stuff and getting involved with all the UFO crap, things started to come together. Like, for instance, my laser background and my laser pioneering background, and which also involved a lot of semiconductor technology involving microlithography, microphotolithography. I was very, very heavy into microphotolithography, and I had developed a bunch of, because of my Billy Meyer exposure, developed a bunch of theories on how to build these UFOs using microphotolithography and silver. And because I was a jeweler, I also happened to be developing a process using a ultrafine silver to make jewelry, and I learned how to use this stuff to make really thick deposits of this silver, very much the same way that you would if you were trying to grow yourself a little beam ship. But I learned some very key things, like the fact that silver has the ability to have a building resolution that is more microscopic and tighter and more high resolution than any other material in the universe.
You're fucking kidding me, man. Like I'm sorry for the bad language, but you, for example, quantic, like next
Well, it's
to
not quantum. It's ion. It's ion
ion.
level. Okay,
Right. Okay.
smallest particle they can get is ions. But if you
Yeah.
could imagine building a structure out of Legos, okay,
Okay.
imagine building a
Okay.
structure out of Legos, and imagine that the smallest Lego you could get was the size of an ion.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
and then
That's it. That's about it.
that's it. And then you start building your Then you start building your Lego, one ion at a
Jesus Christ.
time.
Okay. Okay.
That's how this works. Okay.
That's
Now,
crazy.
when you start building stuff on an ionic level, imagine. I mean, we're talking beyond the most sophisticated semiconductor computer chips we can build today. If you took those computer chips and made them maybe 100 to 1,000 times more detailed, more traces, more compact, more computing power crammed in there per square inch, per square millimeter, whatever. That's what you were talking about. Only now, instead of having a microscopic chip that's an itty bitty little tiny little chip, the chip is now 7 meters in diameter, and it's maybe 5 meters tall, 5 meters thick. Instead of being a tiny little wafer, 6-inch wafer, whatever those are in
I kind
millimeters.
of
I have
get
no.
where you're going. I think I get what you're going to with that shit.
This is
Okay.
how they build these. These are how these things are built.
You're kidding
So
me, from
inside
ionic
everything,
levels.
everything is built on an ionic level. There's no assembly of parts. Everything is
Oh
built
my
on an ionic level.
gosh.
That means that
That
everything is
explains a
attached.
lot, Steven. That explains a lot.
That means that you can cram the computing power, billions of computers into one of those little things.
Jesus Christ.
Because every tiny little segment of that thing is actually is a semiconductor. The
Right.
entire thing is a semiconductor.
Okay.
The entire thing. When you walk into it, you're walking into a giant computer chip.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so that's what these UFOs are made of.
That's what the really good ones are made out of. The
Oh,
ones
the good ones.
that
Okay.
Albert are made in Germany, those are made conventionally. Humans on Earth recently have built very good functional UFOs, but they're made out of sheet metal and components,
Yeah, those
just
are the
like we build
ones
a
that
car.
I've seen repeatedly on military bases. Yeah, yeah. Not
Well, typically,
ionic
yeah.
level ones. Not ionic. I've never
You
seen.
have, yeah, the ones that you see over there in Brazil are all of those varieties. They're all made by the Germans,
Oh my
you know.
gosh. Okay. Okay.
But
It's
but
good to know. Good to know.
the ones that they have at Area 51 are actual beam ships that were made by extraterrestrials and were given as samples to the Americans. So those are actually made.
Do you have any idea what the Americans gave him for the samples? I mean, like the exchange, or was it for free?
Well, it wasn't for free. Oh hell no, it wasn't for free. I paid a big price for that stuff.
Yeah.
We really should go back to the CIA crap and get it over with before we start talking about the UFO stuff. I mean, not that the UFO stuff is
sure.
But let's just say that when the UFO stuff got started up is when the surveillance and all that kind of kicked into high gear. And for the longest time, they were trying to recruit me to, after what I learned and started figuring stuff out, they started to get me, they wanted me to go out to Area 51. And it turned out that the guys, the NSA guys that I worked with, it was a company called API in Costa Mesa. They were doing the same thing. They had tried to get me out to Area 51. So that was at least a couple times. So they tried to get me out there. That didn't work, of course. But after the whole Billy Meyer episode took place is when I got really heavy into putting the lasers on the guns. Okay, and that's when, yeah. Well, that was my company primarily was.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. Okay, originally the way it started was I made laser modules, which were just little self-contained little lasers, itty-bitty little lasers that you hook them up to the battery and they put out a laser beam.
Okay.
And that was the product. And then what happened is companies that made gun sights put this inside of their assembly to make it's like they used my laser to provide the laser for their gun sight.
Okay.
And none of these things worked very good. Because of that experience, I was able to figure out how to make it work properly. And
you are kidding me? That's interesting.
Well, so eventually what happened was we took these Glocks, which are essentially the bottom half of the gun is plastic, and they have these big cavities in the back of the gun, which were very handy for storing batteries and circuit boards and things like that. So we hooked up a new laser was designed. It basically integrated the laser into the gun, and it became the most accurate laser sighting system in the world.
When you I'm sorry, really sorry to interrupt you, Stephen. When you say alien, it's a laser sighting. What exactly are you talking about? I'm sorry, just to know if I'm on the same page here.
The laser sight, all the laser sight does is when it's working properly is that the laser is activated. It projects a red
beam
dot. It shoots a beam, and then the beam impacts the target, and you see a little red dot where it hits the target. And if the thing has been adjusted properly and is on sight when you pull the trigger, and you pull the trigger properly, the bullet will actually hit where that little red dot is.
Oh my gosh, that's a very precise gun.
Well, yeah, that makes you really, really, yeah, exactly. So we did things like we had videos of lighting matches